Hey guys, what's up? It's Zach. I am here with another video for you today. So this is a pretty special video. I actually got a new laptop. This is the Acer Aspire S7 392 6845. So as you guys can see, this is a very sleek looking laptop made by Acer. It is in the Ultrabook category, and I'm very excited to show it to you guys. So I'm just going to get right into the review of this computer. So starting off, as you guys can see, it has a very nice white top with the Acer logo on it. It actually has a Gorilla Glass top, which is very nice. It's definitely a unique thing that I've never seen before in a laptop. Usually they have some sort of aluminum or brushed aluminum, which is definitely something different to have Gorilla Glass on the top, so that's definitely a cool thing to have. Moving on to the inside, as we open it up here, as you can see, it has a pretty typical keyboard layout. It does have a few different buttons that are kind of abnormal from normal. As you can see, the caps lock is a bit smaller than a typical caps lock. It's kind of paired up with another key, and the enter key is also slightly different in size, and it has some slightly different buttons than normal, but it's absolutely great. So this is obviously well, you might not know this, but there was a previous version of this, the S7 391. This is the S7 392, so this is an updated version. One of the biggest complaints that people had for the S7 391 was that the keyboard did not have enough actual tactile feel to it. The actual pressing of the keys had about a 1 millimeter press, so they extended the depth of it to a 1.3 millimeter depth, which means you'll get a much more tactile feel for the keyboard, which will provide a better typing experience for you, and you won't hit as many wrong keys, and it will just be a better typing experience overall. So additionally, as you guys can see, it is also backlit. It actually goes on when the lights are off, so it automatically senses when it needs to go to backlit or not, and it has a green-blue kind of look to it, as you guys can see. So that's definitely very nice. So you cannot have it automatically go on to backlit if you're in a bright room, but you wouldn't really need it anyways. So also, as you guys can see, it has a pretty big size trackpad, which is definitely a nice thing to have if you're going to be spending a lot of time on it, so that's good to have. It obviously has the Acer Aspire S7 logo on it, which is nice as well. Moving on, you guys can see that it has an Intel Core i5 based on the little sticker it has right here, and it is an Ultrabook inspired by Intel. So the 391, even though it had very similar specs, did not actually meet the criteria for an Ultrabook just because of its battery life, which I'll get into pretty shortly. But this does have the Intel i5 Haswell, so the 4th gen, while the 391 had the Intel i5 Ivy Bridge. So one of the biggest differences between Haswell and Ivy Bridge, besides the performance, is the effectiveness of the battery life. So with the last version, you only got about 4 hours of battery, while this one can get about 6 to 8, which is a big difference. So now I'm going to show you guys the sides really fast. Now here on the left side, it has the power, where you plug in the power charger, the actual power button itself, a USB 3.0, and an SD card slot. Moving on to the other side, it has a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, an additional USB 3.0s, or 2 USB 3.0s. That's pretty nice. An HDMI and a mini display. And then moving on to the back, as you guys can see, it just has a good amount of ventilation, so that the twin cooling system, which it has for cooling it, can actually, a lot of the air can flow out of that really easily and will not overheat, so the fans won't need to do as much work because of the good ventilation that it has. So going back to the inside, you guys can see that there's a webcam at the top, which is something that's almost essential for laptops, for Skyping or Google Hangouts or whatever you choose to use. And it's not the best, but it's definitely good enough that it can get the job done for whatever video things you need, but definitely not HD recording. Now moving on to the bottom, you guys can see it has stereo speakers on the left and the right, so you can actually tell when sounds come from each side. Some laptops don't have this, so it's definitely nice that it has this. It doesn't get super loud because of its small form factor, but it is definitely a surprisingly good and nice volume considering how thin it is. And speaking of its thinness, and weight, it is actually less weight than the 13-inch MacBook Air. The 13-inch MacBook Air is exactly 2.9 pounds, while this comes in at 2.87, so it's just the tiniest bit lighter, and it really feels absolutely great when you're carrying it around and picking it up, which is definitely nice. As you guys can see by the sides, it is super thin, which is absolutely fantastic for, like I said, portability and carrying it around. So that's definitely nice. So moving along with some of the specs, it does have a full HD 1920 by 1080p resolution screen, so you get super crisp images. Sometimes, because the resolution is so high, you might need to actually downgrade the resolution a bit just so that the icons can be easier to see because they can be so small just because of that super high resolution. But either way, that's definitely nice to have at whatever resolution you would like. Also, as I said before, it has an Intel i5 4th gen Haswell processor. This can be changed to the you can have the option between either an Intel i5 or an Intel i7. Obviously, the Intel i7 is faster, but will cost you some more money. So also, in terms of storage space, this guy has a 128GB SSD. It is also possible to get a 256GB SSD, and it is in the RAID 0 format, which can provide for faster speeds. So keep that in mind. Speaking of the actual disk space, because Windows takes up a lot of space and some apps are already installed, when you get it, the 128GB version, keep in mind that you really will only have about 100 or maybe more like 90 gigs to start off with. So I would definitely recommend having, if you're doing any sort of video editing or compiling or processing, whatever you're doing, that you might need a lot of space. Or playing some simple games, you would definitely need to have an external hard drive of some sort to store some of those extra files. So keep that in mind. But overall, guys, this is definitely a fantastic Ultrabook so far from what I've seen of it. This retails for about $13.50 on Amazon on the Acer website. So definitely check it out. It is definitely a bit on the pricey side, but it is well worth it in my opinion. So it is a very portable, very sleek, nice looking laptop which you can show off. And speaking of showing off, there's one feature that it has which I honestly haven't figured out the use for, but you can use it if you want to, and you can actually extend it to 180 degrees all the way if you, for some reason, feel the need to. If you want to, I guess, if you're using something and you want to show it to someone else, behind you or in front of you or next to you, you can actually extend the screen to a full 180 degree flat, even actually a little bit more than 180, which is definitely kind of a cool little thing that you can have the screen be at such a strong angle. So that's gonna be pretty much it for this video, guys. I would definitely recommend this to really any student who needs a portable computer for doing work and schoolwork and stuff like that, or if it's someone who takes the computer around all the time and does a lot of traveling just because it is so light. Remember, lighter than the MacBook Air, so, and that's basically notorious for being so light. So, and really, I've done some video editing on it as well, and it does work pretty well in that sense as well, so keep that in mind. So I think that's going to be all for this video, guys. I hope you did enjoy it, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up, and thanks for watching. Bye.